Welcome, seekers and visionaries, to Oracle Mountain Chats. Here on this sacred virtual peak, we gather, a space for oracles to share their wisdom, their visions, and their craft. It all began with a calling I could not ignore. One day, within a vision, I held this conch shell in my hands, and as I blew its resonant note into the world, I felt its vibration ripple across unseen realms. It was a summons, a signal to fellow oracles scattered near and far. I saw that we were on a mountain, vast and towering, reaching into the heavens. At its base, the world buzzed with life, people moving, creating, searching. Yet at the summit, there was stillness, clarity, and a circle of light. There, oracles stood, their gaze focused both outward and inward. They spoke of the energies they felt, the shifts they saw, and the whispers of the unseen. They weren't above the world, they were its witnesses and its guides. From this vision, OracleFest was born, a celebration of connection, insight, and the timeless wisdom that flows through us all. Here we gather as oracles, to share the visions Spirit whispers to us, to speak of the energy currents flowing through nature and humanity, and to help guide those who seek answers in a world that often feels lost. So grab a seat, breathe in the mountain air, and join us as we begin today's chat. Whether it's an energy reading, a conversation about our craft, our path, or simply sharing a perspective on the world below, this is where we wait for more oracles to join us on the mountain. What wisdom will the mountain bring us today? Let's find out together. Step into this sacred space where the wisdom of the ages converges with the questions of the present.
Okay, welcome back to a very cozy start to this Oracle Mountain chat. We have a returning mountaineer slash Oracle luminary, and it's Toni Ghazi with all this beautiful smoke happening, bringing in some air, some fire element for us to begin today. And so here we are on Oracle Mountain, which feels like it's constantly going through renovation and upgrades and construction projects, which you would know a little bit about given your other your other career. But I would love for you to tell people a little bit about how do I say this? What you do, who you are, maybe. Yeah. It's always difficult, I feel like, with spiritual and like, especially enigma type people. You're more of an enigma. Did people tell you that, Tony? That you're a bit of an enigma? I get
Totally.
that too sometimes. And
Yeah.
like, it's hard to describe super quickly and easily, but what's coming up for you now?
Yeah. So just quickly, I'm in real estate. Like
Yeah.
this is the kind of thing that Kate was saying about construction and other things. But in my real estate world, everybody calls me like the elusive Tony because they hear about my name and I'm well known like where I am, but they oftentimes don't see me because we're always on text or on phone calls. Like, you're Toni Ghazi? Oh my God! Oh my! Like da 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 da. So the elusiveness and the enigma
The
is
Toni Ghazi. Yeah.
totally the Tony Ghazi in the 3D world, but also it is part of the spirituality because spirituality is enigma, all of it. We're trying to go into the unknown to find more about what the unknown is. I mean, what's spirituality to begin with? What is God? What is consciousness? Who's Buddha, Krishna, Mother Mary, Jesus? All these concepts that we think we know they are, but when we dive in deeper and deeper, that's an enigma in its own self. So it's very appropriate for that people resonate and feel that enigma, because part of it really is they're trying to identify with their own enigma, right?
Hmm.
Because of the identities. Speaking of Halloween today, the masks that we all put on, how enigmatic we are to our own selves, that oftentimes we think we know the identity that we've constructed as a construct, but underneath that mask, there's a being there that is willing to reveal itself to you. We don't even know who it is. I'm 45 years old. I grew up Christian. I'm Lebanese. I was born in Lebanon, moved to Washington, D.C. when I was 15 years old, and I live in Washington, D.C. I grew up Christian, so Christianity was a thing all of my life. And then at 40, exactly when COVID hit, yeah, because I'm 45 now, I think. Whatever. I was born in 1980, whatever the math is. Like my husband goes like, "You don't know your age?" I'm like, "I don't pay attention.
Needs it.
I'm like 12 years old every day. I'm a little child." Literally. But when COVID hits, when like my consciousness kind of awoke, awoke, and synchronicities like began happening, like TV. And I don't watch TV often because I'm very busy, like with real estate. I have a very busy business. I just don't watch TV. But during COVID, because we were trying to figure out how do we like sell homes now, are we going to be able to sell homes with masks and like 6 feet away? I had a month and a half where we were still trying to like decipher how to work in this new paradigm. So in that moment is where I had time to watch TV, and I like ran across the Gaia channel, which I think many of you like knows, all about spirituality, consciousness. You have everything spiritual on all levels, and I saw like one show that's called Interview with Extra Dimensionals, and it opened my mind up at what channeling is. Knew nothing about channeling, knew nothing about UFOs, aliens, anything spiritual apart from Christianity, Jesus, and Mother Mary and all the saints, and I would pray every day for years and years and years. When that began happening, I was so like pulled like a magnet into these topics, but they were absolutely foreign. I might as well have been listening to like Chinese, like a newscaster, because I understood the English, but no context whatsoever on how it fits together. Even like the word consciousness drove me freaking nuts. I'm like, what is consciousness? I want to feel it. Like it took me a while, a year to comprehend even that word alone, apart from all the other words that we use in spirituality. But little by little, I like realized in retrospect a year later that what has happened in all these periods where I was like lost in this new like information were all little seeds being implanted in my consciousness, growing, and a lot of synchronicities happen. And when my frequency began like shifting, when my mind in a sense began deconstructing of what I thought I knew I was and the world was and religion is and spirituality is, and began reconstruct and shift itself into a new way, literally my whole life changed. UFO ships began appearing over my house, also light ships. I have fairies. I have recordings on my phone of all of them. This is all real stuff, guys. This is not, I thought I saw a ship. It's recorded and you'll see it. But that told me that I'm beginning to shift the lens in which I see the world. Because I've learned since then, things don't appear because, oh, look, there's a ship that just came. There's always ships, there's always fairies, there's always dragons, there's always all these beings around us, but we cannot perceive them because the lens in which we say I see the world is constructed in a specific pattern where you can only see the world from that pattern. Until you begin to deconstruct that and fall into the unknown, allowing surprise to happen, then you begin to see beyond the veil. What is the veil like to begin with? It's the construct of our own mind. So that's a small like tidbit of how I kind of awakened. But specifically the beings that I speak with, and I know this is crazy, guys, believe me, it's one thing to say I speak to angels or to Jesus or to like Mother Mary or like Magdalene energy, all the things that we know through spirituality or Buddha or whatever. It's another thing to walk around Washington, D.C. in a very conservative town, the capital of the USA, one of the powerful nations on earth. I just have to say this is very 3D words.
Yeah.
And say I talk to insectoid beings.
Insectoid. Oh, do
Insectoid
tell us
beings.
more.
I know. People are like, what? I want to use the F word. I'm very non-filtered, but I'll keep it filtered just in case your audience gets triggered. Let's not trigger anyone because what I'm going to talk about is going to trigger you in so many ways.
I was going to say, it kind of comes with the territory, doesn't it? A little bit. Spiritual triggers,
like,
though, like the welcome ones,
Very.
Yeah.
It's like you want to expand, but you want to expand very comfortably with a massage and somebody doing
right.
Well, sometimes expansion isn't that comfortable.
I would say normally it is, which is funny because so you're joining us tomorrow, Saturday, which is November 1st, if anyone's watching this in real time for the Transformation Podium. And I was thinking a lot about this as we've gone towards, I always get all these, as well as I do, these downloads before you go and do a thing because it's going to relate. It's going to, hey, stick a pin in that. That's going to come back later. That's going to come back. So I've gotten lots of insights so far. One of them has really been about this whole idea of a comfort zone being so not a comfortable place to be as a spirit, as like a soul, right? Like that actually what we are deciding is a comfort zone is a total fallacy because we are still uncomfortable. We are still suffering and we are still like facing down the barrel, right? I know. Like, it seems so obvious, but I was like, can we stop calling it comfortable? Because I'm looking at you in your comfort zone and I'm going, there's no way you are more comfortable than
it's an illusion.
Right. And when
We
people look at my life, they go, well, you must be very uncomfortable. I'm like, well, sometimes I am, and sometimes that's what's needed. I didn't ask for it to be easy. I'm not asking, I'm asking for comforts along the way. I don't mind a little soft blanket moment now and again, but
Totally, totally, totally. And I went like this because I'm like, ah, pasta. This is good pasta. I'm going to Italian.
pasta.
Like it's like what you said is so yummy and tasty. Totally,
Yeah.
totally. Because what is comfort like to begin with? We create the idea of what comfort. We already
Hmm.
predefined what comfort looks like and is.
Hmm.
But at the same time, we're fighting that comfortable space to find out more. And it
Hmm.
takes surrender into not knowing where you are heading for that information and knowledge unknown to reveal to you what is beyond the veil or beyond that threshold. Because everything is beyond the veil, guys, is more of you.
Hmm.
Period.
Yep.
Period. We
Better
are
and better.
better. Exactly. Yeah, I mean, even like when we met, I'm like, oh my God, Kate, why are why are we meeting today? I'm like, I totally forgot. But like to her point that we trust spirit, like
Yeah.
there's no way on earth I can plan what's going to happen today. And I do events all over the world, all over the US. I speak on stage and do these things, and I never really plan. I like may have like a con. I by the way, I also stutter, guys. Just so you guys know, I've always stuttered. It comes every once in a while. It used to be really bad when I was a child. I've surrendered into I'm a stutterer, and it is what it is. Um, so like when I go and like do like the big stage presence or even these, I may have an idea, but oftentimes literally I don't even hold on to that idea because I know spirits often now almost every single time they switch things. So this is where you surrender into the unknown. Although I'm going to speak and I said and I've been advertising for months, I'm going to talk about this topic. Yes, we will touch that topic, but in that moment is where we surrender because part of it also your energy, your presence, whoever's going to watch this is co-creating with us,
With
like the
us.
speakers. Yeah,
Hmm.
so it's not a one way I'm teaching you. You are teaching
Hmm.
me through your energy, through the unknown aspect of you. You're driving me what I need to speak. So this is where the trusting yourself as a conduit, as a divine, which we all are channels, by the way. Just to make it clear, I am not special than anyone else on earth. Each and every one of us are divine beings, are empowered, are channels in our own way. Period. You don't learn how to channel. You begin to remember, and like this is what I teach in my like channeling class. We never teach you how to channel. We teach you to remember. We remind you that you've always already been a channel and you weren't aware of it. Because
Hmm.
in our minds, oftentimes we get stuck in these boxes. Oh, a channel looks like this. It has to look like Tony or Bashar or this person or this oracle, and then you're trying to fit yourself in that when the key is to trust your own conduit version of
Hmm.
who you are. Because listen, each and every one of us is a facet, and I'm going into conscious channeling now. I feel them. Each and every one of us, and when you see me close my eyes, because normally when I do channel, guys, my eyes are closed completely for an hour or like 2 hours. So remember that each and every one of us are a facet of something larger. Like imagine, let's say God, whoever God it is to you, is Krishna, Jesus, Mother Mary, Buddha, I don't care. These are all labels of the beings. Let's say this is God, this is the consciousness, and it lived itself for eons and eons and eons as this like energy. It was aware of this. Like one day it decided to fracture itself, literally fractalize itself, break itself apart into a billion and trillion pieces. You are that piece. I am that piece. Kate is that piece. The plant is that piece. The river is that piece. The water molecule is that piece. The wind is that piece. The sun is that piece. The whole mountain is the piece. The rock on like all these little pieces are what comprises the whole, what we call consciousness and God. So when you begin to identify and to begin to see yourself that I am a facet of God, and this is what Jesus said. I don't know much about the Bible because it's been like a long time, but I know Jesus somewhere along the line in the Bible said, I am made in the image of you, or you're made in the image of me, something like that. That's what he's saying. I am made in the image, like we look identical in a sense. We are made out of the same frequency and vibration. He just has one facet, and his sacred geometry, the way that he looks and is and sees and explores and expands and experiences his life, is through his geometric structure of who he is. And you are that other geometric structure. But you put them together, it fits. You put like another piece, it fits. And what we're trying to do in remembering who we are and what expansion and enlightenment and ascension is to begin remembering and integrating all of those broken pieces that are floating everywhere, living their own lives, bringing them back as one to be able to experience ourselves as this wholeness of things. And when you begin to comprehend that beyond the concept, and we're going to talk about that in a second, the conceptual living of things versus embodying what we are saying. When you begin to really comprehend that, wow, I am that one facet within the infinite. No other infinite consciousness can have your sacred geometry. It's like a puzzle piece, right? Like we've all seen puzzle pieces, right? There's only one piece that has its own shape that fits there. That is you. And unless you step fully into who you are and receive yourself and love who you are and know that you are worthy and you are that piece that will complete God, that even God is attempting to understand himself as more, but until you understand yourself and put yourself until you step into that whole puzzle piece of who you are, fully surrender in it and be it and love it and cherish it and see the worth in it, you are able to fit in there. And this is how you are helping God also remember who it is. Oftentimes we think God knows everything. No, God's having the same freaking path we're having. He's probably 20 light years ahead of us, but he's still searching. Why? Because we're infinite beings. Infinity has no destination. There's never a point where I'm like, oh, I know who I am, or I've reached this, or I'm totally healed. Never, guys, because energy is not created or destroyed. It just exists and it continues on forever. And all the experiences that we have, all of our stories, guys, are the point, is the point. But oftentimes we have judged many aspects of our stories. The mantis beings, when I channel them, have like guided many people like through the channeling sessions. They told them, if you have a chance to write a book about your life, and literally write a book with every microsecond of your life, like from the time you were born and breathed and came out of your mother's womb up until the age you are right now, every microsecond, if you can document it, every experience, every feeling, every emotion, every happiness, every sadness, every confusion, every attempt to suicide, everything, all of it was the point. And the point is to begin to see every point on your journey as a valid part of creation, as worthy of everything, as an experience to allow you to experience the infinite. Because how else can you, as an infinite being, are able to recognize you are infinite if you don't live every microsecond of that infinity? But oftentimes through religion, sorry guys, religion is great. A lot of religions teach great things, and there are amazing things I still take out of religion. But discerning is very important for you to discern and take out what resonates with your field. Because oftentimes religion, marketing, social media, schools, don't even get me started on the education system. All of it is based on separation and fear and segregation. All of it.
And
God never
industry,
punished.
right? Like
The
looking
whole thing.
for, there's a lot of colonization really influenced how we received or stopped receiving really all these teachings and trainings. Like what you're talking about, this natural way that like we all are channels has existed from ancient cultures, because ancient cultures knew this, right? And people know this because we've studied more of their art and started to understand again through art. Can you imagine that? It wasn't through politics that we understood this. We might learn more about how it fell out because of how the political structures shifted over time. Like, side note, I was doing some research into Madagascar and I was like, why are things so violent there? It seems such a beautiful land. There's like so much vanilla. Why have they not been paid properly? Like, what is going on there? Just trying to understand. I have a vision of being there, so trying to put it together. What's going on? What is that land all about? What is their story, as far as I can glean, before actually going there? And things became more and more challenging once French colonization happened there. So it's like once the idea came in of like colonizing and owning land, and of like barriers and systems of greed and trade, and how that was like perceived from Europe, right? Which is so vastly different than the lands that are down in Madagascar. It's just a very different energy.
Yeah.
It was just fascinating to me. And I was like, I wonder if they used to be a little more matriarchal. Turns out, yes, they were. And so we're doing this like balancing, like your awakening time to me is like very significant because of the shift that humanity went through at that time as well. It was like time to turn Toni online, right? Like it was like boop boop, and then suddenly downloads start happening. A whole other world makes sense to you. Now, a lot of people who follow OracleFest, you've done a really good job at this so far, by the way, is like just explaining things in a more like, well, you're touching all different levels of where someone could be at, but explaining some of the basics. So when I think about channeling, and when I think about religion, I think, oh yeah, religion does so great because it introduces people to this concept. How amazing is that? And then there's like stopgaps. There's like glass ceilings of like, oh, but you don't get to talk to that guy unless you're this guy. Like that doesn't make any sense at all. That's,
Totally.
that's not what they would want as spiritual beings, right? When you're in the work, when you're in the medicine, those things are less important, these like rules and structures that way. And what's more important when you're in your own, I mean, inner oracle, when you're in your own journey, is that you're actually a spiritually sovereign being, and your unique puzzle piece, like the way you described it is so perfect. I just wanted to like repeat for people who might have missed that, is that to be a part of a puzzle piece within an entire system is who you are. And it's not only humans in that system of divine intelligence. Like, we are receiving messages from plants and weather, and from animals, and from the moving of like technology, right? Like, energy now has risen in this way of internet and technology rising. And so how amazing that we're growing on a collective level to understand what a collective mind could even look like. Like, I think it's really cool that AI almost serves as a tool to understand the collective mind in some kind of way, that we're like, wow, we're trying to show you that this exists. Now there's also the human and spirit related part of that. That's more just the mental. And that's cool. That's just the mental side. And so we're kind of overdosing a little bit on the mental. Yeah. But if we are starting to show people, hey, this exists over here, maybe it's a faster bridge to cross. And we don't need to be so scared either way of like how things are moving. Lots of random points in there as we go.
Every time I talk to Kate, I feel like, okay, these like our things. Okay, we need to have our own show for the next year to discuss.
Let's just start a podcast, Tony.
Totally, because it takes forever. It's like so many things to talk about, so many things to touch on.
I do want to talk about it all too, and like
me too.
That's why I bring you all together. You know, I was thinking this earlier too. It's like a lot of the times, starseed folks don't end up being at the same events as shamanic folk, don't end up being at the same events as a past life person, right? Like, this is one of the things that I'm finding magical about OracleFest, because it's wanting all these different pillars of medicine, and each single pillar is unique. Even if 3 people are doing tarot, they're all very unique in their voice, and it's so obvious to me. And so it brings that same quality that you're talking about into perspective. But you do get a bigger perspective, because if you just heard starseed channeling, Praying-Mantis Beings, that might be someone's direct path to remembering. But when they hear it in the shamanic concept, that might be someone else's direct path to remembering. So when they hear both, it's like incredibly activating from multiple dimensions. That's what we're doing, is like opening dimensions. How exciting.
Totally. It's amazing. Oh my God, there's so much to talk about. Yeah, and there really is. Like guys, seriously, we could be here for a long time.
Could. I know. I feel like we got to put a limit at some point.
Oh my God, it's 12:43
not yet. We're okay. Yeah, we're okay.
Yeah, the limitation of time. Okay, but like, this is what I always say, and like through my beings, is that we're all keys to each other, right? So even like, I'm gonna go back and like touch on like religion like for 1 second, because I'm not dogging religion or saying anything bad about religion, because even look, the way that I connect with my beings are very expanded. I'm gonna put it out there. It's gonna be blunt. Oftentimes it's hard for me to describe somebody who is just like awakening how things are, because they're so stretched. The way that they speak and come through is from a very expanded mindset, so unconditionally loving, so integrative, that to go back to that basic of separation is very difficult for them to like even articulate, even through me, because I don't live that way anymore, right? So like, oftentimes I get a lot of teachers where I help and assist, and in our channeling class I get very talented, amazing channels. They do all kinds of things, all kinds of crazy stuff, but they don't trust themselves. They come to us to push that, like, which is kind of crazy for me. I'm like, why are you? And I tell them, why are you in this class? Why'd you pay money? Like, you shouldn't. But they need that little push. But anyhow, the point is not to judge, because on the grander context, even the idea of separation and forgetfulness and going through religion and believing that God is going to punish you, or there is a devil in hell, and all these things is part of ascension. That is part of the infinite. So as you expand your world and begin to deconstruct what it means through the initial lens that you were taught to see the world, you begin to see like different things. You're going to go through a research phase and a newness phase of things, but you get to a point where you begin to see the whole collective, how it fits together. And you begin to see the gift and the value of every microsecond. Like I talked about the microsecond of your own life when you were born up to this age. Well, now multiply it by every single being, every single consciousness, every single possibility, probability that we all could have gone through the eyes of the beings that I speak with. All of it is valid. All of it is the point. All of it, there is never judgment by creation. Never, ever, 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 ever judges you. I say the word creation in your mind, may be whoever you believe in. Jesus, Mother Mary, they never judge you. We, as a society, trying to understand something grander and like larger, where we don't understand, because it takes surrender to understand, through the clawing and climbing the mountains and trying to like figure out things, we build paths, we build steps, we build ways of understanding to the point in which we can understand things. And part of that is the separation, is the forgetfulness, is this. And now what's happening, the shift in humanity, is the remembrance that we are like integrated, that we are like one. And it takes a deconstruction of one and a reconstruction like of another, and it's beginning to happen, and it's beautiful. So on the grander aspect of things, there's never a judgment. All of it is the point. And when you're vibrating from that frequency, when you begin to see the world from that lens, you begin to see the value in others. Because judgment, we all do. My being said clearly, each and every one of you judges, and also each and every one of you does not unconditionally love, period. All of us conditionally love. Perhaps we experience certain aspects of unconditional love for the ones we feel safe with, but unconditional love is loving with no condition. Just yesterday, I had a live like with my friend, on social media, on like TikTok and on Instagram. We talked about hateful comments that we get on social media or everywhere. You could get it at work, at school, from your parents, from your boyfriend, girlfriend. And I posted a video where I wore a dress. So by the way, guys, I'm a disruptor of paradigms. I do that on purpose to disrupt your mind. So last December, I was at the channel panel in Sedona, and I was on a big stage where there was like 600-700 people in the stage, and people expected me to come on stage with my like beautiful white garb, the gold. I have this holy look that I was called to wear, and they expected me to look like that. What came out on stage was a man with feathers and some like blue eyeshadow and a beautiful gold dress that was like the sun.
It was so
That
great.
was
I was so excited to get that photo. It was the best.
You should see the whole event. It was amazing.
I really did.
Everybody came back crying to me. Like they were like so touched by what they witnessed, and what they witnessed is not really my courage. I mean, they witnessed, because I didn't have courage. Spirit said that's what you need to do. And I've never worn a dress in my guys. Yes, I'm gay. I have a husband, but never had the desire to wear a dress or even high heels or anything like that. But I needed to embody what Spirit said, break the paradigm of humans, because oftentimes like visuals beyond the words assist us in understanding. It's a way of communication. And when your mind is like jolted, like initially thinking the person's going to come out this way and he looks this way, there's a disruption of your own paradigm. And there's your own internal like battle, in a sense. Am I going to listen to this guy? Am I going to accept him? Is he crazy? Is he cuckoo? Anyways, it was the most amazing, magical experience at the live event. But when I posted that on like social media, it went viral, like 400,000 views, some crazy amount and comments began coming. Majority of them were hateful comments. You're gay, you're a faggot, you're a cult leader, you can imagine like you should go kill yourself.
I don't need to imagine. I've got them too.
Okay. And a lot of our spiritual people who channel in our world do receive them. But the point was of last night, which I've been called to do this like back in like February, but I had so much, like, I travel a lot and do all these shows. Like I've had over 10 trips in the past 2 months alone, 3 months alone. Anyways, I did not have time, but we had the live yesterday where like we talked about how to receive those hateful comments from an unconditionally loving space. And this is not to say that I condone what you say. This is not to say, yes, please call me faggot and go ahead and call the word faggot. No, this is not the thing. If a person chooses to say that, who am I not to give you a floor to speak your truth? And from a psychological mind, why do I expect you to understand where I am? You haven't lived my life. You haven't been inside this costume, and I haven't been inside your costume. I don't know what life you've had, what trauma you've been through. If you've lived through the war like I did, if you were molested, as a child, if you were beaten, if you were homeless, if I don't know your story, but yet I'm gonna judge you for saying something like to me. To me, that is another form of judgment that we don't realize we're doing. Because oftentimes, if somebody, if like somebody calls somebody a like bad name, or even if we witness somebody like say something we don't agree with, in our minds say, oh, this is a bad person. That's a form of judgment, guys. That's conditional like loving, and that is true like separation. So being mindful of where you are and how you're viewing the person. Again, this is not to condone what they said, but this is to allow that sovereign free will being to be where he is or she is. Because in that moment where they said that, in my mind, no human on earth, unconditionally loving person to self would ever utter these words, which tells me
Agreed.
that person is in pain,
They're
that person is
struggling.
hurting.
Yes.
Totally. So
Yes.
being compassionate, being understanding, witnessing someone else that perhaps is going through pain
Yeah.
and is actually coming out through the costume of I'm calling you like this name, is to witness them. And energetically speaking, oftentimes we're sitting here not saying a word, not responding like to these comments, although I respond to those comments and I will tell you precisely like what I always say. But even if you don't respond and don't say like anything, in your mind you are judging them and saying, oh, this is like a bad person, this is an unhappy person, sad. Remember, guys, we're tethered energetically. Your mind, your thought, even your feelings, if you don't say a word, is actually sending codes, empowering and supporting where he already is. Instead, you can sit in your own silence and begin imagining that being, that person healing from what they're going through, unknown to you. Because unless you talk to that person and know their whole life, you will then understand why they even said those words. Right? So be mindful on the energy that like you receive. But the last thing is how these bad comments, what seems to be bad, are gifts to you. Because if you get triggered, the moment you get triggered, what a beautiful ascended master on the other end, that person has just revealed to you. Because when you get triggered, he's not triggering you. No one else can make you feel anything. You're feeling that way because within your field, within your definition system, there's a belief system that believes that word that was just said. You identify. So it is a gift. So now I welcome all these bad comments. Please send them, because if they don't affect me, I know that part of me is healed. If they affect
Yes. Oh
me, I'm
my
like,
gosh.
yes, he or she just gave me the opportunity to go within. I couldn't see it, but he let me see through that. So there's a
So
lot of
true.
ways, and I'm getting chills right now. My head's completely like a chicken. You see
I love that. I
that?
always love the close-ups. The Toni
Yeah,
Ghazi goosebump close-ups.
totally. Everybody knows. I get so much
Patented
goosebumps.
TM. Yeah.
Totally. No, but this is how you begin to challenge yourself to begin
Agreed.
shift that mirroring effect. Yes, I'm gonna stop here. There's a lot to talk about, so I'll give you
I
space to
know.
like.
I I mean, I just want to say I think a lot of people are going to resonate with that idea as well,
Sure,
because
of
I think a
course.
lot of actually spiritual people think that they need to be consistently with like pure thoughts, but I think the idea is we're moving towards a gentler and more loving and more compassionate way of being, right? So we're just
Yeah.
like moving towards. So I like this idea that if your thoughts could, you could imagine them like arrows and they're being sent out. So you could either have like Cupid's love or you could have like angry, destructive arrows, right? And sometimes I think when we feel, I'm sure you had some experience of this because we are human. And I know when I've been genuinely like energetically, mentally attacked, verbally attacked through text and through online,
Yeah.
there was that like, oh, these are themes that I need to see. And like if I'm just like, that's not me, I don't believe that, absolutely not true, then I'm cool. But if I'm like, oh no, there is something there for me, it is a gift, it's like it opened me to the comeback game is so much stronger, right? The empowerment game is so much stronger because of me rising up from that. However, we do often feel when people are having thoughts about us or anger directed towards us, we can receive it and take it in and like sort of make ourselves feel small, right? And again, that contraction is like strengthening you. It's like someone like not lifting the weight. You're like struggling under the bar and you're like, well, that's not a comfortable moment. But as soon as you lift that bar, you're pretty proud of yourself. That can be what these times are like. And so it is like to thank them and to wish them well, and that actually keeps your energy field also more the way
Yes.
you want to feel. That's it.
Yes.
Is like it
Yes.
actually is really uncomfortable to keep sending out thoughts. I have people sometimes who will ask me about like curses or can I cause harm in some, and it's very rare, very rare. I work with like really lovely people. This is more like in passing kind of
Yeah.
situations. They
Yeah.
wouldn't be typical clients to ask about cursing someone else. But there is that like I think very human thought of like how can I protect, how can I defend myself?
Yes.
But if we are all one of the same family and that is your brother, like that is my poor brother who's like really really suffering and really in pain and lashing out all the time, what would I actually do? Right? And if that, in this case, it was a brother attacking me. And so if there was like a brother in my family where there was no way that I could be around them safely, I would make sure I called the best uncle to go and speak to them. You know what I mean? Like I would have that that thought of we should ought to take care of each other, and this is all part of that. Is now we realize thoughts are becoming manifestations so much faster. This Aquarian age is so exciting. Everyone's realizing it all together. How exciting!
Yes.
Thoughts
Yeah.
just become manifestations, and also in like our perception of things. I saw something the other day. We can't get into this now for sure, but I saw something the other day about thoughts. Like science is getting close to showing a way that memories also are affecting our future. Like the way that we're storing how we see our past is affecting our, which is very much what we talk about in the spiritual world with
Of
timelines,
course.
right? Is
Of
that if you
course.
shift the way that you perceive how your whole life has gone for your empowerment, you're going to have an empowerment journey ahead of you, because that's the story arc that you're writing. If you're
Of
that
course.
main character, you're this one puzzle piece. That's, you're sliding all different ways and you feel like you don't
Yeah.
fit in. Finally, boop, the climax of your story, you just fit right into that
Yes.
puzzle.
Yes. Yes. Oh my God, there's so much talk, but I
I
do
know.
want to talk about. There's so much. I mean, I swear to God, we really should do this every week for the next year.
Yeah, we can
Um,
definitely do more, Tony. You're welcome back
I'm
anytime.
always
Like,
open,
I'm
and I
not
love talking to
limited.
you.
Yeah, I'll nudge you. I'll nudge you. I'll
Okay,
make you
please do.
get in this Oracle Mountain space more.
Please do. And like what I want to talk about also, guys, everyone is in pain.
Hmm.
Each and every one of us is in pain. Every one of us is in pain. And speaking of Halloween,
Yes.
oftentimes we shield, we hide that pain. All of us do it. Because if each and every one of us is authentic with whom they are and how they feel, we would never be having this conversation.
Mm-mm.
Because oftentimes, how many times
Yep.
have you been? Not how many times, like you may have been through one situation where you like judged the person, and then like somehow along the road you got to meet them and you're like, wow, they're amazing, lovely people, and now you know their
Yep.
story.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happens when people like call you names. And when
Hmm.
you are also like calling the other person names or
Hmm.
whatever, or judging them, because you are going through pain. Everybody goes through pain. And from an ascended way, in a more stretched way, I talked about this earlier. This is God. We're all the fractals. That person that you're judging is another facet of you, is a version of
Yes.
you living that role. So
Yes.
be mindful of that. And when you comprehend that beyond the mind and the concepts, I will like touch on this for a second because the Praying-Mantis Beings have talked recently this year about parroting, being like a parrot, like the birds that repeats over and over again. Although birds are really smart beings, I'm just being kind of a bit dramatic because I'm a drama being. Um, the parroting, we parrot a lot. We say things, we're performers, we know exactly what to say that's is on the vibration of love. But embodying that vibration of unconditional love is a very different thing.
Hmm.
That takes you inside to go within yourself. All the shadows and aspects of you that you have hidden, you're not willing to see, you don't want to deal with, it's too painful, it's too whatever. That once you begin loving you fully, unconditionally, and receiving yourself that, yes, I am flawed, I have done this, I have made these decisions, these perhaps were bad choices as an experience, not judgment. There's no judgment. When you begin to love those aspects of you, then you begin to operate on the frequency and vibration of unconditional love that switches the lens of your vision to be able to see others from an unconditional loving space. Up until that point, if you haven't worked on yourself and decided to dive deep into the shadows of who you are, everything else you're experiencing is literally actions and performance. Like all of us should win Oscars for
Hmm.
knowing precisely what to say. Because how many times have we truly hugged somebody or said, oh, thank you and everything, and in your heart, you're not feeling that?
Yeah. Right. I
All of
know.
us.
I
It's,
know.
but also, and I'm not saying that in a judgment way for you to feel bad that you did that. No, but just to begin to discern and see that the shift in which where you're operating from authentically,
Yeah.
or this whole performance that we've been conditioned to do. We've all been trained like dogs,
Hmm.
sit, paw, lay down. We've been conditioned over and over again that is so natural, it becomes real to us. So when you begin to identify those things, but it begins with us, guys. I'm going to remind you, this is the last thing I'm going to say, unless we have a few more minutes. Each and every one of us are the engine of our own creation. You may have heard the idea of you project your own reality and like we live in a hologram. When we go to theaters, guys, to the movies, you're sitting in a chair watching a movie on the wall. Yes? Yes. The movie isn't really happening on the wall. What's happening on the wall is, yeah, she's like, what? What have I been doing all these years? What's really happening is in that box we call the projector, there's light emanating out. That light hits the wall and creates the illusion of this reality playing out.
Mm.
And what are those lights? Those lights are the definition systems and everything we've been ingrained with, whether from like your culture, if you're Lebanese, Indian, Chinese, African, I don't know, plus your traumas, plus whatever you went through, plus schools, plus what you watched on TV, plus layer of definition. Those definitions are within me. I am that box of projector. So what I see in my world is
Is your
happening because of
projection.
my
Yes.
definition. So when you begin to go within and know yourself and see yourself clearly, and oftentimes, guys, we have an identity. That's where the ego comes in. This construction of an identity that we believe is our reality. When you begin going within, you're gonna feel lost. You're gonna freak the, I almost said the F word, the crap out, because you're gonna realize who in the hell is that person living inside of me? I don't even know. Oftentimes we do not know ourselves. That is the real work. And when you begin to know you fully and clearly and unconditionally love you in every piece that you are, then you will be able to vibrate out or emit your light, to be able to see the world from a very different lens. Unconditional love within, you'll be able to witness and perceive unconditional love outside. The more hate and division and separation you have within, oftentimes you're unconscious of, the more that you perceive outside of you that. And on a higher perspective, all of it is ascension. Just because you're lost and you don't remember doesn't mean it's descension. That is part of the path. So that's the next level of unconditionally loving where you are and the path that you are.
Yeah. It's almost like sometimes you feel like you get taken down a notch, right? Because it's like we remember so far, and then we have like whoop whoop. It's like a airplane. You know when airplanes just suddenly do one of those like straight drops. I don't know if you've ever been in a little airplane, but it's pretty scary when it does this whoop whoop whoop. And it's almost like that, but like you always get to your destination, right? Like that doesn't actually change the progress that you've made. You're still moving forward the whole time, but you feel as though something has like happened. And so,
Yeah,
it's like, let's not sweat these little bumps and jostles. And this year has been full of them. So next
totally.
year will be less. Just get so excited for that. I really feel that.
Totally. And I'll give you like just a little like visual like that will
Yeah.
help you people. Since the moment we were born, and I'm not saying like physically, since the moment creation is born, whenever that is, from that moment on, expansion began. And literally like what's happening is we're starting, let's say this is the beginning of time, whenever that is, and it's going up and we like it's like a little mountain. So we're always rising up. Those bumps you're talking aren't
Yep.
bumps, some
Yep.
well, because that's what expansion is. That's what enlightenment is. Being able to experience yourself as the infinite. So you experience all level of infinite, not just the positive side that society said, oh, if I'm successful, if I have a business, I have a picket fence, and I'm married, and I have a dog, and I have kids, I'm happy. But if I'm feeling depressed and feeling like suicidal and lost and hate the world, and it's a crappy day today, then I'm broken. Bullshit.
Hmm.
That is ascension. That is
Yes.
ascension. This whole
It's
spectrum is
all there.
ascension.
Yes.
Totally.
Yeah, it doesn't always feel good, but boy, it does in the end. It's actually just one of these funny things. Like
Yeah.
feeling good is really, really key for most of this to feel like it's working. And you'll just think it's not working if you don't feel good. And it's like really easy for people to just trick themselves into judging their entire journey. So I really like what you've said, just to help
Yeah.
people make sense of like all the little points along our journeys. Because once you click on that, you're way more grateful for every moment that happens from there, right?
And then I'm going to say one last thing. Do not be afraid
Yeah.
to have a teacher. Like to have somebody in your life as a
Yes.
guide, or like several guides, right? Like we don't do this on our own. We never
Hmm.
have, we never will.
Yeah.
Period. I mean, you could
We
choose
heal
that
with
path.
community. Yeah.
We live with community, so you have support. You have people that can remind you, that can guide you. You feel supported. There are events. There are all kinds of mentorships. I do them. A lot of other people do them. Like, don't be afraid to be the student of
Hmm.
life. We're all students of life. You teach me as much as I teach you. There's no one
Yeah.
person that knows more than the other. I mean,
Yeah.
in that moment for a specific topic, one person may know more than you, but in other topics, that person knows nothing and you're the expert. So we're all experts at all
Absolutely.
times, helping each other connect. So when you see that, you see the equality in all of us, that with all these keys, I'm going to say this from a grand perspective for you people. All of us are ascended masters. Each and every one of us is a mirror. The praying mantises have this year also have been saying over and over again this image. Imagine yourself like walking outside of your house. You just open the door and you walked out and you're looking wherever you live, in a house, apartment, I don't care. Everything you see outside of you, literally everything, from the planet, from experiences, from the TV, from the moon, everything, from humans, from interactions, everything outside of you is all consciousness. Each and every one of them are holding a mirror. A mirror. Imagine a mirror reflecting back to you what you cannot see within yourself.
Hmm.
When you begin to walk life, seeing everything else as mirrors, literally reflecting back to you what you need to see inside of you, be like, what a beautiful gift I created. Filled with all these ascended masters holding mirrors for me so I can see something I'm unable to see without them inside of me. I'll leave you with that thought.
I love it. I love it. Great. It's almost like a cliffhanger ending. People are like, what? And then what? Then
Now
what?
you
You
pay
have to stay tuned for the
$1,000
next
and you can
time.
find out the rest. No, I'm kidding.
Exactly. This is where the barriers start.
Totally. This is where money comes in 3D, and you
Yeah.
have to, but anyways, obviously, I'm just
Pyramid
kidding.
scheme gets revealed. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a cult leader, remember? Go
Oh,
kill
yeah.
yourself. Whatever. Yeah,
That's what I
totally.
love also about these events that we're doing with OracleFest, bringing people together because it's putting us all on the same stage and not in. So it's featuring experts and leaders, but not as like the guru of all. Like I just won't ever. I just don't think that's right. I've never really bought into the celebrity stuff. I think we need to be like
Yeah.
really mindful, discerning of how we're like celebrating power and doing all that. However, I really think that people get a lot out of listening to you. And so, if anyone has gotten to the end of this chat and is like, I want to hear more Toni, you can go look at old Oracle Mountain chat, Toni, because we did do one last year as well. So it's about a year, well, probably a little less than a year ago. For our
Yeah.
last one. However, I think even juicier is coming to the Transformation Podium tomorrow, Saturday, November 1st, because we are going to hear more from Toni about channeling. Like it'll just be like, Toni, go off, which basically this is too, because I quite like listening to you. And then we're going to do live readings also. And so Toni will be there as well, I believe. You're joining us for the live readings portion.
Of course, on
It's
my
going to be so
calendar.
fun.
I
And I
can't
really like
wait.
that part. It's like the time where anyone in the Zoom room who wishes to can approach the podium and ask a question about maybe a transformation that's going on in your life right now, a big shift you might be called to make, maybe even next year. Like, I think it's really well timed. We follow the wheel of the year. And so it makes sense that right after Halloween and Samhain, we are in transformation mode. We've already gone through the Celtic New Year, which starts at the beginning of October. And so it feels like very New Year energy to me, certainly. And then we got our other one at the Big Oracle Fest. So Toni will be at this transformation podium this weekend and as well at the Big Oracle Fest. And he doesn't know this, but I'm telling you right now for the first time, he's also going to be featured in our Trusting Your Visions 6-week journey because I'm bringing actually wisdom from the different speakers into our 6-week Trusting Your Visions journey to get out of your way and just to get you so excited for the Big Oracle Fest. So we'll be sharing some more clips from what we've seen behind the veil with Toni throughout November, December. So very exciting. I'm really looking forward to hearing more about channeling and transformation and your personal journey tomorrow. There's always something new that we can glean. And thank you for being here on Oracle Mountain once more.
Thank you, my love. And you guys
Of
can
course.
find me in case. I'll take Kate's.
Yes.
You can find me first name, last name.com. So you see it on the screen,
Toni Ghazi.
ToniGhazi.com.
Yes.
I'm
And I'll
also
link
the
it below.
Thank you. No problem. No. And I'm only one in the world because we haven't talked about crystals that creates crystal. So like you've heard of the crystal skulls, like the human skulls, which are it's a big
Indiana
thing.
Jones. Yep.
Indiana Jones. It's
Yeah.
a spiritual. So because I connect to the praying mantis beings, I'm literally the only one in the world that creates praying mantis crystal skulls. And this is my latest, newest design.
I
Probably gonna
love
be like
this one. Oh
I know. So the eyes are
my
obsidian.
gosh.
All the eyes are obsidian in
Amazing.
like this is Mukai Jasper. So I'm the only
Wow.
one in the world that creates praying mantis crystal skulls from amazing artists. Like I can't give out the name because
Yeah.
you'll know them if I do. They're amazing carvers. But remember, crystals are also consciousness
Mhm.
like everything else. They can be your assistants. You can ask them to do things to help you, to assist you, to awaken you, to connect galactically. So if you're interested, DM. I don't have them on my like website yet because I haven't done
Yeah. But get in
photography.
touch with Toni for
Get in touch
some
with me,
little,
email me. I'm
yeah,
like very responsive, and
great.
we can talk offline.
Love
So
that.
thank you, Kate. I'll
Yeah,
see you
what a great addition
tomorrow.
to your altar, to your desk or something. And just to remind you, and for anyone who loved, I know that people loved you in the big
Oh,
Oracle
Kate.
Fest that we had in earlier this year. I keep saying last year because it feels like a year ago, but it was earlier this year in January. And so for anyone who really vibes with Toni, this is like a great way to also feel still connected to his message, right? Like sometimes these teachings continue to resonate with us and then they just find
Yes.
us when the time is right. You can go back if you're a Star Access member and go look at your replay, review like, oh yeah, Toni, he's kind of stuck in my mind. People, that will happen with people. I had someone recently
Totally.
say, oh, they were thinking about Doc Stephen, Stephen Farmer's talk in this last big Oracle Fest. I said, well, good, because he's at this event this weekend, so people can hear from him again. It's just like,
Amazing.
people float in for the right reasons. So
Yeah,
just
yeah.
trust that if you resonate with this.
Exactly. Always follow your heart. When you
Yeah,
hear these whispers, they're whispers for you to
yeah,
act, not to just have
Exactly.
them in your brain floating.
Totally.
And obviously, like I do channeled readings, and oftentimes a lot of my channeled readings for people are quite galactic and not human. So if you are interested in finding out who you are, past lifetimes,
Yeah.
future lifetimes, literally beyond physical body,
Yeah.
crazy shit, guys, like
Beyond
crazy
this
information
realm. Hmm.
beyond this realm. Like,
Hmm.
it will activate you in like so many ways. Um, Experience crying during those sessions, experience a lot of healing. It's just
I might
amazing.
just sign up just for a good cry. That sounds great.
Last night, and the only reason, like the only listen, the only reason, like that I'm saying it, my dear friend, like Deanna Hugen, her last name, I don't know how to pronounce it well. Like she's also an oracle, and she's a channel. She gets readings from me every other month. We had one for her yesterday. Explosive towards the end. She literally could not stop crying for like 10 minutes, and
Mm.
a massive healing happened from very early on in her
Mm.
inception, not as a human, as
Hmm.
a spirit,
Source.
very early on.
Mm.
It was this whole
Wow.
crazy.
Ah.
And guys, like when I channel, I have my eyes closed and I'm gone. So I don't know what's happening. I don't remember what's being said, but I have to re-listen to the recording,
Hmm.
which we recorded to send it to you. Um, but this is why I'm saying the crying, because she just couldn't stop crying last night. It
Yeah,
was
it's so
very
beautiful.
magical,
Love a
amazing.
good release. That's amazing. Oh, it's such a pleasure to have you here, Tony. As always, looking forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Double the Tony,
Yay!
double the fun. And then
Yay!
we'll see you at the big Oracle Fest as well. So, yeah,
Okay, guys. Bye.
stay tuned. Bye.
I'm so silly. I'm always about games.